We're going through our ABCs of Christian believing, and the word for today is evangelism. Evangelism, sharing the good news. Hey, you're included. That's the news. Making all the more strange that many evangelicals are known for their list of who ought to be excluded. When you love someone, you quite naturally want others to love them with you. Good news begs to be shared. Evangelism gives news to those who don't know the news, whereby they will know that in Jesus Christ, God knows them. If you see something wonderful, you'll point it out to others so that, well, they can enjoy the wonder too. Evangelists simply say, come and see. The world is right to judge the good news by the lives it produces. But, sadly, good news is the last thing a lot of people think when they hear the word church. Evangelism is not only telling, but also showing the good news. It's being the church, and thereby living our lives in such a way that it provokes others to exclaim, look how they love. Paul says that you are Christ's letter written to the world, God's appeal to all. Be reconciled. That's what Paul says to one of his congregations. And he says to them, you ought to be reconciled because you are God's showcase of what God can do with people. You're God's lights amid the gloom. Shine. That some haven't heard and others have rejected the good news doesn't mean that the news is untrue. More probably, it means that we've done a lousy job of broadcasting the news. In a day when evangelism sometimes reduces the gospel to, some slogan that fits on a bumper sticker, I think it's remarkable that the church, when it was fighting for its very life, early Christian preachers like Paul didn't shrink the good news down to something that was otherwise readily available as just common sense. Rather, early Christian evangelists carefully articulated the distinctions between Christ and the empire. If the empire's functionaries push back against the politics of the gospel, that is, Jesus is Lord, Caesar isn't, Paul didn't retreat, reducing the public truth of Christ to something that could be tucked away into something that's safely personal and private. The poor soul who says, I believe that Jesus Christ is Lord, but hey, that's just my personal opinion. No, the Christian evangelistic claim is pushier than that. Therefore, some have asked, is it arrogant to witness to others in the hope that maybe God will convert them? We say it's more arrogant to keep good news to yourself, as if it's your possession rather than God's gift and our responsibility to share the gift. Why cower before the world's lies into which people have already been converted? Lies like God is absent, what's dead stays that way, though Jesus is not Lord, you might become a Lord unto yourself if you try really, really hard to be the very, very best person you can be, etc., etc. Hey, let's go head to head with the world. Let's allow Jesus to roam freely. And then let's see who's still standing by the end of the argument. Sometimes in evangelism, in leaning over to speak to the world, sometimes we fall in. We say to the world, hey, world, what do you really, really think you've just got to have in order to make your life worth living? And then we promise, hey, good, Jesus can deliver that. See what we're doing? Trying to lure folks to Jesus by promising them what Jesus has no intention of giving. Hey, that's not evangelism. That's false advertising. In a society of great loneliness, it's tempting for the church to offer something like, hey, come, we'll give you community. We're the friendliest church in town. But that ploy overlooks how community can be an excuse for avoiding conflict, huddling with those who look a lot like you, hiding from God in the safety of the comfort of the herd. Evangelism isn't an appeal to people's self-centeredness and then a kind of bait and switch them into a relationship with the selfless one who said things like, take up your cross and follow. If you hear a church say, our church's main concern is fill in the blanks with whatever you value more than church, that's often a signal a congregation is tired of the rigors of worshiping God and is now kowtowing to whatever people find more engaging than the Trinity. A pastor who is fatigued by a clawing congregation demanding attention from the pastor, I think that's oftentimes a sign that evangelism has gone bad. Rather than help Christ gather and then deploy his people, we've just got a cluster of selfish, demanding consumers who are huddled together because through wrong-headed evangelistic appeals, they've been misled into thinking that church is mainly about them meeting their needs. Evangelism begins in the heart of a God who said, I will be your God. In God's determination to have a people, I will be your God, you will be my people. Thus, Paul speaks of the gospel of God, or God's good news. It's a reminder, evangelism is really what God does. It's a name for God's constant activity among us. God flooding the world with the truth of God's determination to be our God. What I'm saying is that anywhere evangelists go, just remember Christ got there first. We share the gospel, but only God can verify. God's most tender question, spoken way back in Genesis at the first, where are you? That's at the heart of evangelism. When people accuse Jesus of being too evangelistic, remember what he said? Hey, I have come to seek and to save the lost. That's evangelism. Join me again as we continue to explore the riches of the Christian vocabulary, the ways of Christian believing, as we do our Christian ABCs.